Hello. 2 videos in 1 week. Go me. I wanted to read something, and I just going to put it out there right now that this is going to be an intense trigger warning. But I also think that it's something that needs to be said. Yesterday, I finished the final rewrites of my novel, my creative nonfiction. There it is. 22 years in the making. I am including something at the end. And I felt that it was so profound and so intense that I should just share it now. So I would like to read it for you. Again, this is a trigger warning. It's called Abuse is a Confining Torture. Abuse is a confining torture. It doesn't happen quickly, nor do the signs always show. The victim is forced to return to the torture daily, and from there, a delicate dance proceeds. The torture is not done by a stranger, nor is it done to obtain secrets, or get back large sums of money borrowed out of times of desperation. No, abuse is a confined torture, done by loved ones and performed with a large degree of conflicting emotions by both parties. There are accounts recalled by abusers much later in life when they will voice regret. These accounts are few and far between, but they speak of remorse. Then there are accounts of the victims where they will voice forgiveness and will try for a normal relationship with their abuser. This is not unusual due to society's pressure to develop and nurture family, regardless of if that family designation is harmful or in any way endangers lives. What is this need to cultivate the family dynamic? Why does society push people to stay involved with people who harm them? As if by saying family is the most important thing somehow negates the abuse. It doesn't. It perpetuates it. Although there may be remorse later in life by the abuser, that in no way excuses what they do at the time. The slow, violating anguish of repeated abuse changes the abused forever. Who they were meant to be is destroyed, and their new identity is stunted for as long as the abuse continues. And that is usually for decades. Imagine for a moment, close your eyes and imagine being raped and beaten for decades by someone in your family, your father, brother, uncle, mother, grandfather, all taking turns with your body, doing whatever they want, day and night. And just before leaving you, with the shame they placed on you, they tell you, if you say a word to anyone, I will kill you. You are young, probably between the ages of 5 and 19. You may have one person in your life you love. The abuser will know that. They will know who you cherish above your own life and well-being, and they will threaten their life as well. Abusers are smart, conniving people. They do everything they do in secret, in private, and do whatever they need, so they are never caught. What amazes me so much is how that is not seen as premeditated. How that is not seen as intent to harm. People often compare rape and molestation as the death of innocence. It has been said so many times it is now a tragic cliche, and that minimizes the true impact of the incident. By making it a cliche, it victimizes everyone involved and takes away from the true tragedy. The person that child was supposed to be is dead forever. Please take a moment to comprehend what I just said. When I say the person the child was supposed to be is dead forever, take a moment to fully understand. Think about who you are. Take stock and inventory of the person you are right now. Are you witty, intelligent, charming, playful, tell great jokes at parties, have fashion sense, like pop culture? Now, imagine being pinned down by your shoulders while someone forces their penis or finger into you repeatedly until you start to bleed. Yet, they don't stop. They keep going until your pain is so unbearable you pass out. Yet, they don't stop. They keep going until they climax. They climax from your weakness, your whimpering, your screams, your begging for it to stop, from you passing out. When you wake, you lay in your blood, their sweat and semen, bruises covering your arms, shoulders, thighs, vagina, and anus, especially if you are a male victim. You can barely move because you strained your muscles and tore ligaments trying to defend yourself against someone who is 3 times your size. Then it dawns on you what happened, what really happened. Most people, mostly men, have no idea what it means to someone who is a victim of rape or molestation. They cannot comprehend it because to a lot of men, sex in any form is just something physical that happens. For a woman, for some men, it is a deep psychological event. And by taking that person by force, rapists damage the pure essence of the victim. Those men cannot see past their sexual desire, their raw physical need to release that desire. It's almost animalistic. So, some force that release. To some men, all a person is something to stick their dick into regardless of what happens to the person they violate. In the end, the person, the psychological aspect and essence of the victim is torn away, shredded, and left to die. The rapist does not care. All that concerns them is the release. They will never think what they did was wrong, not by their definition. They may later concede that idea based on society's idea of wrong, but in reality, they do not feel what they did was wrong. There is a difference between the definition of right or wrong. Society has clear definitions of right and wrong. Do not kill, do not steal, do not commit a crime, do not rape. Basics. This is known to keep society in check, to stamp out mayhem, to chip chaos in the ass and maintain control. Then there is the definition of right and wrong by predator standards. They hide what they do not because they believe it is wrong, but because society says it's wrong. How many people believe that? How many people function in the idea that what they do is not wrong, but they must hide it because society believes it is wrong? Functioning in that idealism, they carry on with the abuse because in their minds it is not wrong. They wholeheartedly believe the victim is at fault. If it were not for the victim, they would never have acted that way. That is what they tell the authorities when they get caught. They put all the blame and by association shame onto the victim. Very few predators will ever own what they did. Society perpetuates victim shaming to nauseating degrees. Why blame the victim for someone else's actions? We do not control other people, what they think, or how they behave. The best example of this is this Steubenville rape case. When the verdict was finally handed down, the very first thing the rapist said was, "Now no one will want me." And then he broke down and cried. He made himself the victim and the actual victim the cause of his victimization. The news media and society wholly backed him up, saying he was a young man who made a mistake. No, he raped someone. He forced himself upon an unconscious girl. He decided he would rape that poor girl, and in no way, shape, or form does that make him a victim. He is a rapist. He is a predator. But because society deems him a victim, the blame and fault falls upon the actual victim. She must now live not only with the violent act, but also how society views her. The pressure and condemnation by her peers will give her suicidal thoughts, anxiety, and depression for the rest of her life. Yet he is free. He served 1 year for the rape of that poor girl. He made the choice to rape her. He is a rapist. And every woman he approaches should know that about him first and foremost. But why should he have to pay for the rest of his life? Why shouldn't he? She has to. In the deepest confines of her every day, she relives that moment. Society has now deemed her damaged goods. She did nothing wrong. Yet, for the better part of her remaining life, she will almost believe what society tells her. So, she suffers alone, day in and day out, like all victims of rape and molestation. He rapes her again and again every day. She can't erase it. It wasn't just a physical thing that happened to her. It was also psychological. And that makes the continued abuse a confined torture. Kept in the dark, behind locked doors, the idea of a safe haven or sanctuary, long misplaced from the first touch, repeated over decades.